Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been rocking with me for a minute, welcome back. Y'all, I am over 5,000 subscribers. Thank you so much to those of you who have subscribed to the channel. And thank you for the love and support that I received from my last couple videos. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. I want to start off and say that today's topic is a sensitive subject, and I myself can relate because I am the parent of an adult child. And so don't take this any kind of way, right? Just kind of listen to what's being presented. If it resonates with you, fine. If you disagree in the comments, that's fine, but don't attack other people, right? Depending on what their opinions and perspectives are. I kind of saw a little bit of bashing happening in the last couple of videos that I posted. And, we want this environment to be a collaborative environment, one that is open to hearing others' opinions and not putting people or certain groups down. Okay. All right. So, what I want to talk to you about today is some of the barriers that may come about as a result of financially supporting your adult children. And then I also want to talk about strategies that you can put into place that benefit both you and your child, so that if you are providing financial support, that it is from the perspective of love and wanting to set your adult child up for success. All right, so let's get into it. So I'm going to just take 8 different ways that financially supporting your adult children may be a barrier to your achieving financial freedom, okay? So this first one is dependent adult children. Adult children may still rely on their parents for financial support, hindering the parents' ability to save and invest for retirement. And so, again, if you're putting yourself out, and I'm just speaking about children, some of us are in the middle, we're in that midlife sandwich to where we may be providing financial support to adult children, to our, let's say, older or ailing parents. Either way, that can pose a barrier to you achieving financial freedom and contributing to your retirement. Another one is medical expenses. So increased healthcare costs or chronic health issues can drain finances, especially if adult children are also facing similar challenges. So I know for me, I'm carrying my daughter on my benefits. I don't know if her dad is doing that, but at this point, if she has some type of medical issue that comes up, I'm going to be financially responsible for taking care of that, right? And I plan to do that until she's able to get on her feet and I'll say when she gets a job that has benefits, because that's the direction I'm pointing her in, then she will be responsible for that. But again, any money that comes out of my pocket to have to cover healthcare costs is money that I could be contributing towards my retirement. Okay, number 3, emotional spending. Parents often feel compelled to financially assist their children, which can lead to overspending and reduced savings. And I feel like I've fallen into that because, again, I've always wanted to provide a lifestyle for my daughter to where she feels like she has everything that she wants and needs, to be honest with you. But as I'm taking a step back and really wanting to focus on my financial wellness, I've had to have the conversations with her. I think I shared with you all in a previous video that these streaming services that I have, I'm not really a television person. Those are all for her. So I'm like, pick one, because the other ones are going away. I'm not going to continue paying for these streaming services. And that was kind of tough, right? Because I felt like, I know she enjoys watching all these different shows and stuff like that, but I am really prioritizing my financial health. Okay, so debt accumulation. Older adults may carry debt from prior financial decisions or co-signing loans for their children, which can restrict cash flow. Oh my goodness. So I haven't come up against this, and I hope I don't. I'll share with you all how my daughter's father and I structured paying for her education. I think that is the best way to do it. I paid out of pocket because I did not want to carry that additional debt with me after she had graduated from college. So we'll get into that a little bit later. And this is the last one that I'm going to talk about. I have more, but I don't want this video to be too long, and that's housing costs. So maintaining an expensive home or taking on a mortgage for adult children can limit liquidity and financial flexibility. And so taking on a mortgage for my adult child is not something that I'm interested in doing. Now, if I take on an additional mortgage in that I'm co-signing on a mortgage with the thought in mind that it's going to be something that will be an investment, so a rental investment that I can hand off to her in the future, right, to maybe just get her started. I have kind of thought about that. I would like to help her purchase a condo or something like that with the thought in mind that she's going to keep it, and if she decides to move, that she will use it as rental property. But again, that is money that is going to be taken away from what I could be putting in investments towards my retirement and so forth. So let's get into this article that's talking about how you can approach providing financial support from a place of love and not obligation, and to set your adult child up for future financial success. Okay, so this article says here, if you spend time in a central metropolitan area, you will find high-rise buildings, sometimes hanging from the ceiling or standing on top of multiple stories of beams, and wood is a collection of scaffolding. While those structures can withstand most heights and circumstances, they are temporary. Much is the same with financial scaffolding. Think about it. Scaffolding allows people to be elevated and strategically positioned and provides much needed maintenance on things in hard to reach places. When they graduate high school, our children may depend on scaffolding in their financial lives. They need a temporary agreement to get a diploma or a trade as they prepare for a career. Why? The average student loan debt from college graduates and those who didn't finish a degree is roughly $38,700. Most financially stable parents want to prevent their students from feeling that burden. Supporting adult children can be a meaningful experience and useful for their financial future. However, it is vital to be aware of troubling patterns. I'm going to stop there for a second and comment. So what I want to say is that my daughter just recently graduated from college. She graduated from Grand Canyon University, cum laude, I want to say. So I'm super proud of her. And her dad and I made an agreement. We didn't want her to incur a lot of student loan debt. We weren't going to pay the full portion of her loan. She would need to get scholarships and then also apply for student loans, but we wanted to try and decrease the amount of student loan debt she would have to carry after graduating from college. So he took a third, I took a third of her tuition and boarding. She took the other third, which she supplemented with grants, scholarships, and then the rest was paid for with student loans. So as a result of that, she does have a little bit of student loan debt that she is going to carry and that she will be responsible for paying off. But I love the fact that her dad and I came into agreement, and we both agreed we did not want her to carry that much of a financial burden. But we also wanted her to take responsibility and invest in her education as well. Okay, let's keep going. Financial support could help struggling adult children perform difficult tasks. Living alone or with roommates in this economy can be remarkably difficult for someone graduating from college. Supporting adult children for their future success is almost necessary for many families, but it should happen with clear discussion and determined direction. The key to financial support is understanding that the end goal is for the child to thrive independently. When establishing boundaries for financial support, there must be a beginning and end. This process meets an expectation about what the caretaker and the child are willing to do and not to do. Timing is essential with a financial agreement. Caretakers must ask themselves how long financial support will last, and the foundation of the agreement has to start with trust. As the parent, you have established trust that you're willing to take care of the child and do what it takes to see them through any situation. As a child, you have experienced trust that your shelter, food, clothing, and anything else given to you is a token of their love for you. As a family, you both understand and trust that every action is done because of love and not obligation. I'm going to pause there. So again, I can remember being a young adult. I didn't go to college right away, but when I graduated from high school, it wasn't like my parents kicked me out of the house and told me to go figure it out. And I had considered joining the military, but ruled that out. So I got a 9-to-5 job. And when I first started out, I started out working at a fast food restaurant. I hated that job, but I stuck with it. And my dad, through his connections, his network, he was able to help me land a job at a credit union. And from there, I was able to start making my own money. I had a quote unquote real job. And I learned so much from that experience. But in the beginning, I lived with my parents. And my parents' motto has always been, you can always come home. That's something that they've told all of us kids. And so we have that option available to us if we need to use that. So it's kind of like we know that we have that lifeline if necessary. So me, myself, as the parent of an adult child, I've extended that same invitation to my daughter. I said, if you fall upon hard times or you need help getting started, you can always come home. And I think it's so refreshing to have that support. And I think as a parent, you want to offer that support to cut down on anxiety that your children might have. I know that my daughter had so much anxiety. She felt like when she walked across the stage, number one, in high school, she had to have everything figured out as an adult. Number two, when she walked across the stage at college, she felt like immediately she needed to hit the ground running and have a job. And that is not realistic. Sometimes that happens, but in many cases, it does not. And so providing financial support as your child is trying to find their way, I think is essential for their well-being. Trust is more important than ever when supporting a child's financial success, but the interpretation can vary. In this sense, providing money is out of love, but effective boundaries must be agreed upon. A strong support network and great communication can lead to a better bonding experience with your adult child and increased trust. Financial support involves many things, such as responsibility, accountability, and growth. However, structure is one of the most essential facets in financially supporting an adult child. Economic assistance must be explained, understood, and possibly written down to refer to from time to time. Crucial to this agreement and the foundation of the financial support structure is the idea that money is not a power tool in a family relationship, but an instrument of love. Have an honest relationship with each other about expectations and responsibilities, whether they are fair and reasonable, and what natural consequences happen if those expectations aren't met. If the child isn't following the path you envisioned, that is not permission to remove financial support. I once had a client who supported her daughter so she could follow her passion. Although the relationship was turbulent, it was understood that the daughter wouldn't make much money initially, but there was potential to earn a substantial living. Yet it didn't happen as fast as my client assumed, so the monetary support was removed. I told her that is a power play, not supporting someone you love. I want to pause there. So, as my daughter was coming up to time for her graduation, I had a conversation with her. I said, well, what are you planning to do after college? I have an open door. If you want to come live with me, you're welcome to do that. And I don't know if she had the same conversation with her dad, but she decided to come here. And I set expectations for her because in living with me, she doesn't have a job. And even if she did, I wouldn't expect her to pay rent or anything like that out the gate. So my expectation of her was to do chores, take care of certain rooms in the house, areas in the house, and just to stay on top of that, respect the home that she is also living in. Also, because I knew that our dynamic had shifted a little bit because she too was an adult. The expectation was still there, though, that there would be a mutual respect. I was not, and she knows this about me, I do not tolerate disrespect. If you think you're going to be disrespectful, you're going to have to do that somewhere else. Also, as far as providing financial support, so I provide room and board, I provide groceries. She commented a couple weeks ago that she loves not having to pay to do her laundry, that kind of stuff. But the expectation that I'm going to take her shopping or that we're going to be eating out all the time, and she wanted to have like certain memberships, and I was just kind of like, no, we're not doing that. Whatever regimen that I'm on, you're going to have to adopt that. So we kind of had a little bit of turbulence there, but we sorted it out. But just kind of going back to this point here, I'm not doing that for my daughter out of obligation. I'm doing that out of love and because I want to help her to transition into that being a financially responsible adult. And so kind of touching on this specific scenario, nowadays, it seems like the kids in my daughter's generation, they're not too keen on working a 9 to 5. My daughter doesn't have an issue with that. But there's this whole, I think more than ever, that they're wanting to pursue their passion, which may be unconventional ways of making money. And so say, for instance, if your child wants to be an artist or something like that, well, we know that it takes a while for someone to start making money to where they can support themselves. So if you give them a timeline and they're not able to hit that mark, you don't want to withdraw financial support from them or kick them out of the house because, again, you made an agreement and you have to be realistic. Set those expectations with your child up front when they tell you what it is that they're looking to do as far as seeking employment. And don't get upset with your child and then threaten to remove financial support either, because what's happening is you're starting to degrade the relationship if you use that financial support or withdrawing that financial support as a power play. Okay, so next up is they touch on different parenting styles. And if you look at this diagram here, you'll see that there are 4 parenting styles. There's permissive, authoritative, neglectful, and authoritarian. And then you'll see on the X and Y axis, you have responsiveness and then demandingness. These parenting styles involve 4 quadrants opposed along 2 perpendicular axes, as seen in the visual. On the X axis, there is love and warmth. On the Y axis, there is structure, limits, and boundaries. The best results are high warmth and high structure and expectations. How can you make this parenting experience with your child high in both financial structure and relationship warmth? These questions can help guide your decision making. Why do you want to support your child? Why is it important to allow them to focus on their education, career, or passion project? Answering these questions will help determine why you create financial support in the first place. That's where your love and warmth is located. That's what is connected to making those boundaries. And so these are some questions you should ask yourself. Are your expectations clear? Is the timeline realistic? And I would say when you're setting your timeline, actually, this should be a collaborative conversation when you're setting your boundaries, because your child's expectation for when they're going to meet certain timelines may be a little off base, but you don't want to go based off of what it is that they're proposing. You might even want to do your own research, given the field that they're wanting to explore, or if there's a passion project that they're wanting to pursue. You might want to do your own research because, as we know, our kids, they think they know everything. They have these high expectations, sometimes unrealistic expectations. So we still have to help them out in that area as well. But again, is the timeline realistic? Do you understand this journey may have detours? Can you allow the child to judge this relationship's success? And what happens if expectations aren't met? Money is inherently emotional, so understand that when entering a financial relationship with your child, an open conversation about a financial agreement should involve comparison and not make or break the relationship safety. And that is what's paramount. You can't get into it with your child and then all of a sudden just withdraw financial support, because again, you can pretty much ruin or degrade your relationship with your child if you do that. So again, the purpose of this video is just to present some ideas as to how you can continue, if that's what you're doing, providing financial support to your adult children without making it to where they are dependent. You want to set them up for success by providing that support, but you don't want to enable them. And I think following these steps would be really helpful. It definitely gave me food for thought. And so if you found this video helpful, please leave your comments. I love engaging with you all, and we have such a great community. I'm sure there are people who are either in that stage of life where they are supporting their adult children, or they've been in that stage of life and they have some advice that they can offer. Or maybe there are people who are just completely opposed to providing financial support to your adult children. I'd be interested to hear all different perspectives. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.